Welcome to iGlobal Daily Video. Before we begin, it should be noted that any advice is of a general nature only and that your personal circumstances have not been taken into consideration. Hello everyone, my name is Rob Clayton and thank you very much for joining me. Overnight, the Australian dollar surrendered all of yesterday's gains, with the overnight price action slightly bullish until it reached a high of 74.08, sharply returned when the bear's pause heavily weighed on the market, and erased all the gains and now back to the mid 73.5 region. Also to note that the decline in copper prices has also put a slight dent in the pair and keeps it to its initial target, now taking out the minor support at 65 and looking towards 73.20. It is viewed that the market is getting a little bit oversold and therefore is due for a possible turnaround, as the current sell-off may soon reach a point of short-term exhaustion. Therefore, we could see a short rebound from either 73.20 or maybe from the next support, which should hold as a firm base at 72.55. The immediate upside target is at 74.15, quite close to the overnight high of 08. And as I mentioned above there from the previous day, that 74.60.65 should cap. The RBA overnight, speaking from Portugal at the ECB forum, said that the central banks around the world might need to accept that inflation will be low and their targets may be holding at some time. And he believes that pushing up price growth is risky and comes with questionable side effects. The RBA went on to say that he leaves with the possibility of accepting that inflation might just a bit lower and we'd like at the moment, and therefore could see initial changes, not many changes from the RBA, as it keeps its interest rate at 1.5% from its previous meeting. It is viewed, though, that the market will take the challenge to the downside, as I said, and with the technicals being oversold, just be a little bit careful if you're trading from the short side, because towards 73.20 could start to see some profit taking. Well, it would seem that from the overnight price action is that also at the ECB forum was Mario Draghi, along with Fed Chairman Jerome Powell. ECB President Mario Draghi promised that the central bank would take its time to lift interest rates, reinforcing last week's agreement by policymakers to keep borrowing costs unchanged, well, at least to the September of 2019. Draghi went on to say that we remain patient in determining the time of the first rate rise and will take a gradual approach to adjust policy after that. Draghi has made it clear that the ECB's plan to halt its bond buying program this year, closing an extraordinary chapter in a decade-long struggle with financial crisis and recession, which doesn't mean the central bank is ready to withdraw its support. So let's see what happens. With the bearishness still holding for the euro, and also to the fact that the dollar index did take another challenge at that 95 level, it still remains vulnerable, as a break above there would see a rise up towards 97 figure to 98 figure. This in terms would be the catalyst of seeing the euro break beneath the level of 114.85 and head on to its objective of 112.80. Resistance, I'll be looking to shorten the market around 116.30 to 45. The dollar yen case has found a little bit of bullish sentiment overnight. Since the rebound of 109.60, the market is now challenging the top side at 110.55. With only a few points away from that level, a clear break above would see a target of 111.15, which is my preferred objective. And I do expect to see profit taking around the highs that were seen back in May. Any dips should still be shallow. Well, the much awaited rate decision from the Bank of England is tonight at 9 o'clock Sydney time. For those trading sterling, just be on your guard that the statement is probably the most important piece to the puzzle to what the Bank of England is thinking, and therefore, as widely expected, I do anticipate no change in the Bank of England's interest rates as it holds at 0.50%. But more importantly is the Bank of England, Mark Carney, will be speaking later on Friday at the House of Commons. at the Mansion House speech, and in turn, the market will be looking widely to look for any clues or hints to what Mr. Carney's expectations for the UK economy. Talking of the House of Commons, though, is that Theresa May got another parliamentary vote, defeating the House of Commons, the amendment proposed by the pro-EU Conservative lawmakers to win the Brexit meaningful vote. The figures came in at 319 versus 303 in the Parliament. So this, the UK is due to leave the Union next year in March on the 29th. So we'll see how that goes. But as I say, keep an eye on the 9 o'clock tonight. For the technical point, though, I still expect to see further down test. The immediate target is at 130.85, with the resistance seen around 132.10 to 132.50. Moving on to gold, well, the market is still a bit disappointing as this bearish cloud sits upon the outlook since the plummeting $26.7 on Friday. This sharp decline and also the lack of demand is still concerning. And as I mentioned, that with the ECB forum, is that we also had Fed Chairman Jerome Powell speaking. He came out and said that, rather hawkish as well, that the case for gradual rate hikes was strong. So Powell did also say that the threat of trade policy changes, however, could force the Fed to question its outlook on monetary policy. So let's see what happens along with the US and China. Nevertheless, the target for the gold is at 55.60, with immediate support on the intraday at 66, with a resistance seen at 76. The outlook for silver is still questionable as it now takes the challenge towards this region of $16.1525. I do anticipate the market will start looking for a buy from this region and stage a rebound, so I'm not getting negative towards the bottom side of the range, and especially with the indicator, as you can see here, getting quite low, as previously it did back here and here, is that market did rebound at this point, with the indicator being low, from this point, with the RSI being low, and also from here, and I do expect to see the same from $16.1520 to 25. Rounding off with oil, the fact is that we got a stab at $66 last night and was rejected. With the market clearly falling away quite heavily, is the fact I'm still expecting to see further weakness. Now into tonight for 2 days, we do have the oil ministers from OPEC, Russia and other major producing countries to meet in Vienna and talk about the review on their current production agreement. So no doubt that will put a bit of proactiveness in the oil, so be a little bit careful. I'm a seller towards 67 and above, and I'm looking for a target of 62.40.80 as a potential move before any turnaround in this price action that I'm seeing from oil. Well, that wraps up for today. Thank you very much for joining me. And as always, look out for the intraday report, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day that's ahead.